7 bold predictions for the 2021 offseason. This is from John Harper, SNY TV. Marcus Stroman accepts his qualifying offer. You can check that one off the list. Very nice to have him back, as much as I disagreed with how things went down with him. You know, it's hard to argue with his reasoning. Mets signed George Springer, which would be huge. I've been pushing for that. I know I'm not in the majority here, but that was kind of my number one priority. I know a lot of people are saying Trevor Bauer should be the number one. And an NL 2020 Cy Young winner, Trevor Bauer, should be the number one priority, but I don't know. George Springer, although it's looking like he probably might go to the Red Sox. Number 3, Mets trade for Francisco Lindor. I don't know if that's that bold. It's getting less bold and less bold prediction. It just looks like it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. We've got to make the package sweet enough. Sandy Alderson retains manager Luis Rojas. So this is an interesting one because you see like the Red Sox brought back Alex Cora after he was, let go after the ties to the Houston Astros thing. AJ Hinch who was the Astros manager who was fired because of that scandal, who now has employment again. A lot of people are thinking, okay, does that mean you're going to bring back Carlos Beltran into the fold? Why not? And from what I've heard from Alderson in that press conference that introduced Sandy Cohen, it sounded like they have faith in Rojas, and it seemed like they were committing to him. Now, I don't think that was 100% set in stone. I still feel like might be an outside chance that Beltran's open to it now that the Wilpons are gone. Did Beltran watch the press conference, and was he kind of inspired by Cohen's words? I still think Rojas made some pretty crucial mistakes throughout the season that ultimately turned wins into losses, but not to the point where you would bail on him after 60 games. So he's just in a weird spot right now. Mets number 5. Also, they finally found out who the bombshell candidate was for the Mets. Remember last year we were talking about, before they hired Beltran as the manager, there was this bombshell candidate, and I called BS. I was like, this is just off-season beat reporters trying to drum up some business, some clicks, some views, whatever. And it turns out, no, they were right. There was a bombshell candidate, and with the White Sox announcing Tony La Russa as the new manager, it started to come out that La Russa was the bombshell candidate for the Mets. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. Is he over the hill? Is he past his prime? Is he not what he was? Yeah, but would players respond to him? Maybe. I still think, with that much youth in the clubhouse, do you want an older guy like La Russa, who's probably seen some shit and doesn't want to have to put up with the younger generation? Am I making assumptions? Definitely. But a lot of these guys that are in the clubhouse now have come up with Rojas. And so I think they respond to him more. And of course, La Russa has that DUI that he's dealing with now from February, which I don't know that that's really ultimately, I don't condone drunk driving, but I don't know that's going to completely derail him continuing as manager. It's a stupid mistake. And that's all I'll say about that. Number 5, Mets signed James McCann. Next best thing to Real Muto. He's improved in recent years, was an all-star at the White Sox in 2019. Hit well in a part-time role last year, splitting time with Yasmani Grandal. Cost a lot less. If we sign Springer and trade for Lindor, then I think he's the go-to guy. Number 6, Mets signed Brad Hand. So we need bullpen help. Questionable whether or not Lugo will stay in the rotation or return to the pen. He had a strong season as a closer in Cleveland. Indians weren't willing to pick up his $10 million option. By adding a lefty who's been a closer, the Mets would protect themselves in case Edwin Diaz reverts back to 2019 form. So, that's one name I have not considered, but I guess that's a recent development. The Indians turned down his option. So, oh man, I wouldn't mind that. You'd have a little of the old John Franco, Armando Benitez type setup where it's like, you got a bunch of righties coming up in the 9th, throw Franco out there. You got lefties coming up, or righties coming up, Benitez. You got lefties coming up, Franco. Nice to have options. Champagne problems, my man. Then number 7, the Mets signed Jake Odorizzi. This is another name I've not seen thrown around that much. If Stroman is back and the Mets need depth in the rotation, especially if they decide they're stronger with Lugo back in the pen, Odorizzi makes sense. Number 3 type starter, whose price shouldn't be too high coming off a lost season, which injuries to his non-pitching arm limited him to only 13 2/3 innings over 4 starts with the Twins. As a 30-year-old right-hander relies more on precision than power, Odorizzi has had enough solid seasons with the Rays and Twins over the years to make a bounce-back season likely. Very nice. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. So far we've seen number 1 is paid off. I could see number 2 if Springer decides to opt for money over fandom with the Red Sox. See that happening. The trade for Lindor is going to happen. I can't see it not happening at this point. I was so caught off guard when I first heard about it, and now I'm so on board with it. It's insane. I'm okay with Rojas retaining as manager. I'd still like to see what Beltran could have done though. Maybe he comes back as a bench coach. I don't know. I think he's probably over it by now. He's how many chances can I give this organization? McCann, hell yeah, I think that happens. And then Hand and Odorizzi are interesting, but I don't hate it.